Hello everyone and welcome to You Move Solihull's weekly property roundup hosted by myself, Alex Shappich, and my business partner,
Gail Shappich,
who is with me today on the news desk. And yes, that's a bit of a shock for you all, isn't it? And that's because we are changing the format, folks. We are going to be focusing more on the property news and figures locally for you on a Friday. We will be out and about. Either one of us could be out and about in Solihull somewhere, showcasing perhaps a business of interest or something of that sort, as you know, but that will be for another day on a week-to-week basis. So
we've got some hot topics today, haven't we, Alan?
We have. So let's get into those. Looking at the national news, Labour or the government has announced that it is going to be reigniting its commitment to the MEES and EPC regulations. So MEES is minimum energy efficiency standards, and you need an EPC off the back of that to prove what banding your property falls into if you're in the private rented sector. So that's an energy performance certificate.
And if you're looking to sell your property, you also need one before you can put it to market.
Absolutely. So the Department of Energy and Net Zero, they're launching a consultation with proposals for improvements to this system. What they would like to see is by 2030, all private rented properties are going to have to be in Band C. The current requirement is a minimum of Band E. Now, I don't know any older properties that ever achieve Band C without extreme refurbishment work done to them, literally gutting the whole property and starting again as if it was almost a new build. So it's going to be quite difficult for people to achieve this. Now, what the government are proposing is that there's going to be a grant which they will call the Warm Homes Local Grant Scheme. I think this may have been in place some years ago or something similar. That's going to offer £15,000 to £30,000 for
one property.
Yes, for one property.
Yeah. So portfolio landlords, you become a little bit unstuck, whereby after the one property, you have to contribute half the cost of any additional property to upgrading your house to the minimum standards.
Absolutely. And the other caveat is this is only going to be available to certain postcodes. So I should imagine that anything south of Birmingham, let's say, traditionally will be coughing up. The full cost, who knows? We don't know the outcome yet. That's just my prediction. They're looking to roll this out by 2030. It's Ed Miliband's promise to make landlords upgrade their properties. So watch this space. It could be very costly in the next few years for people who are sitting on properties. It may be that you want to sell them.
It is a fine line, however, because you've got a lot of landlords might not have that money put aside, particularly if they are a portfolio landlord. Some might argue, well, if you're a portfolio landlord, you should have the money. However, it's one of those things where property is interesting because the goalposts change constantly. It's not like you can go into property knowing the rules, knowing how to play the game, and as long as you do that, you're fine. The rules are constantly changing, the landscape's changing. So with this incentive for, better homes, it's a fine line between creating those better homes, but also not pushing landlords out the market entirely. A lot of landlords might just think, well, you know what, I'm never going to meet those standards, so I'm just going to sell up. Therefore, there's less stock available for renters, which is kind of the reverse of what they're trying to do at the moment and secure people's accommodation if they are in rented accommodation. So it's going to be a really fine line to tread.
Absolutely, girl, and well put. And yes, you could just be having a knee-jerk reaction and go, let's sell. But I would sit tight for now, as these things often change dramatically when, as Gail put it, the reality of the situation prevails. So,
but if you're in Solihull, you can always sell with us.
Absolutely. The local market, folks. Let's give you those headline figures. So, Gail, where are we at?
Yeah, so available stock this week in Solihull, folks. We're looking at 625 properties currently on the market, as opposed to 632 the previous week.
Yeah, bear in mind we are just focusing on You Move Solihull's postcodes. So if any studious, diligent agents out there are looking at the whole market, then yes, your figures may be slightly different.
Watch for the comments.
New instructions, the 42 versus 45, so not much movement there.
And sales agreed in our specific area are 26 this week compared to 33 the previous week.
All right, so we're down a little bit there, aren't we?
Yeah, that could be people just hanging off. Interest rates are starting to look, well, mortgage offers, should I say, mortgage products are starting to look a little bit more favourable. So maybe people are hanging out for something better.
Possibly. Price reductions, well, yes, that could reflect those comments as well. There's only been 24, so less likely to, sellers are less likely to just get shot of those properties. And also could be that properties coming to market are more realistically priced as well, which always helps everybody involved.
Yeah, and properties that have been on the market for 12 weeks or more, this week is standing at 609, as opposed to last week we had 589. So that's got a bit more of a difference. So perhaps my comments were correct, Alec. Maybe people are just hanging around and waiting to see what happens with slightly more favourable products coming to market.
Quite possibly, and that moves on to the average time on the market. We have 184 days for properties within our postcodes, according to Rightmove. That's up as well on 172 same time last week. So yes, not much movement, but certainly enough to have a few thoughts on and make a few comments. So final wrap up, which we still will include for you, and we will try and get into these streets actually physically to show you what they look like overall, but not this week, as we've been contending with the new format of our show. Is the most expensive streets in or the B90 postcodes.
Yes, for all those people that sit up at night scrolling through Rightmove with their glass of wine or their cup of tea, you know who you are. This is something for a bit later when you're up for your scrolling. We're looking at the most expensive properties in the B92 area.
This week B92, so it all range
B92.
between B90 usually and B94. I'm sure anyone tuning in knows the drill.
So get your search bar going and you want to have a look at B92, and we've got a property on Elmdon Park, which is a 7-bed, 7-bathroom property with over 8.4 almost acres, and it is sold subject to contract at 1.4 million. Very lucky buyers, and hopefully the sellers are going to pastures new and even probably even a nicer house, who knows.
Well done. Yeah, or there could be downsizing.
There could be.
And we've got the second most expensive in B92, subject to contract, according to Rightmove, is on Hob Lane for 1.35 million, and that's a 5-bedroom property, and again a lovely house.
Tasty.
Yeah, so that's all from us, folks. We hope you've enjoyed our new show, and we'll be back same time next week for another property roundup. But in the meantime, have a great weekend. Goodbye from me and
from me.
bye for now.
Bye guys.